Let me tell you about the first murder. Before the yellow tape, before the precinct, before the news ticker, before any of that, there was a brother and a feeling, and a door that God said don't open, and he opened it anyway. That's not ancient history. That's this block, that's this year, that's this morning. Yeah. Two sons of the same father working different ground. One tending livestock, one tending what the curse had found in the soil. Thorns and resistance, sweat and diminishing return. While the brother with the flock watched his offering burn. Upward with acceptance, and the text don't fully explain the mechanics of the differential. The why Abel's gain over Cain's rejected harvest. Theologians debate the posture, whether Cain held back the first fruit, whether faith was the imposter wearing works cover. But what I wanna discuss is what happened in the chest before the field. The build-up of the rust, the oxidation of the longing turning into something corrosive. The grievance calcifying into something explosive. God came to Cain before the field. That's the part I keep returning to. God asked him directly why the falling face, why the burning through the countenance, and then the warning. Sinners crouching at your door, it desires to have you, but you can rule it. That's the word of score, the full report from the creator to the one about to fracture. God gave him the warning in the window and the answer. The door was closable. That's the gospel and the Cain account. The door was closable. That's the mercy in the full amount. God showed up before the field, not after. God intervened before the tragedy, not past the chapter. The door was closable, and Cain chose to walk through it. And in every generation since it's had to reckon with that blueprint. The door is always closable. That's what I need you to hear. The sin crouching at your entrance hasn't entered yet, it's still out there. Fast forward to the field, you know the outcome, know the ending. But sit with the in-between, the moment before the rending of the brother from the living. Sit inside that walk, the conscience running the whole time. Did Cain talk to himself? Did the warning play back in the register? Did he feel the crouching thing gaining as he went to minister to his brother with intention? Dressed his conversation. Did the conscience scream? And did he choose the amputation of the signal? Choose to turn the volume past the threshold. That's the mechanics of every choice that direct soul. Makes an escalating corridor toward the irreversible. The conscience isn't absent, it's submersible. It goes under the feeling when the feeling runs too hot, and the catastrophe occurs in the temperature in the spot where emotion overrides the architecture of the warning. And the field becomes a site of somebody's permanent mourning after God came back. And here's the theology that grits me. He asked Cain where his brother was, not to get the history. God is omniscient, he knew the coordinates, knew the scene. He asked to give Cain the space to come clean, to confess before the sentence, to step into the light of it, instead of wear the weight of the concealment in the night of it. But Cain said, am I my brother's keeper? Classic deflect the question as a question, the redirect. And God said the blood is crying from the ground of me. The evidence is vocal, the evidence is loud. I'm free from any doubt and still. And this is where the grace intrudes. The mark that God put on Cain was not for the prelude to his execution. It was protection in the exile. The murderer received the mark of mercy in the meanwhile of his consequence. Still banished, still in wandering, still Easter eating, but marked for the considering of any who encountered him as someone undercover of a God who wouldn't let even this become the final chapter. I think about the men I've known who did the thing in the field and carried it for decades underneath the deal. They made with silence, men who built whole lives on the east side of a moment. Men whose wives don't know the full coordinates of who they married. Men whose children inherited a weight they never carried. To the altar, never named, never gave. To the one who was asking at the door before the damage was done. And I think the mercy in the Cain account is this: the exile is not the end, the exile is the making of the man who survives it, who builds in the displacement, who finds that God is present even in the Easter Eden placement. The mark in a brand of shame, the mark is I know where you are. The mark is you are still mine even after the scar. And that's the gospel that the gangster in me needed, not the clean version, the version that's still seated with the men who did the thing. You need to know that the door to the after is still open, still open. The door was closable. The door was closable. The door closable.
I read this psalm on a Tuesday. I had just come from the hospital. Walked through the valley, for real that time. The shepherd was a metaphor. The Lord is my shepherd. I needed that said out loud, because the wolves were organized, had numbers, and they were proud. He making me lie in green pastures. I wasn't trying to rest, but sometimes God pins you down just to quiet the chest. Leading me beside still waters after all that noise. The silence felt suspicious, I didn't trust the voice, but He restored my soul, and I'm a witness to that phrase. Cause what came back wasn't what I had in my younger days. It was something heavier, slower, more deliberate, more true. Like the fire burned the waste and left only what God threw. Even walking through the valley, shadow on every side, He kept a table for me right where my enemies reside. Even when the dark was loudest, when the grief was all I owned, He had anointed something in me, never left me on my own. Yeah, though I walked through the valley of the shadow of death, I was literally that verse. Every block was a test. Seen friends fold, seen fathers disappear from the frame, seen good men swallow whole by the machinery of the game. I will fear no evil, man, it took me years to get to. Fear is the first language the streets used to connect you, but His rod and staff, they comforted, not removed the road, just made me able to carry what I couldn't carry alone. Thou preparest the table in the presence of mine enemies, and I watched it happen, couldn't explain the geometry. Even walking through the valley, shadow on every side, He kept a table for me right where my enemies reside. Even when the dark was loudest, when the grief was all I owned, He had anointed something in me, never left me on my own. I used to think that psalm was comfort for the comfortable, something you put on a card, but David wrote that in the field, running, hiding, hunted. He wasn't sitting in church, he was in the valley, and he still said, goodness and mercy shall follow me, not lead me. Follow, because you gotta go through first. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow all my days. Not walk ahead, not clear the path, but follow through the haze. Like a rear guard, like a shadow of the good kind, cleaning up what I left behind while I move forward blind. I will dwell in the house of the Lord, that's the destination, but the valley is the route, it's not the deviation. So I stopped asking why the road was dark and hard, started asking what the shepherd was building in the yard. And the answer came back slow, like most real answers do, that the table in the valley was always set for two. Even walking through the valley, shadow on every side, He never left, He never left. Said I had to bleed for something. I've been bleeding for the wrong things most of my life. This one's different.
I laid everything I had on that altar, couldn't fake it. The streets took my brother to death, I've been penning on patience. Blood on my hands before I ever read a Bible verse. The irony hit different when the pastor said first the hearse, then the harvest. Gotta die before you rise, that's the pattern. Used to think grace was for the soft, now I know it matters. Every scar is documentation. Every night I was missing, God was running up receipts while I was out here jealous.
Blood on the altar,
I laid it all down, paid every ransom, not a slave to this town.
blood on the altar.
Can't fake what I owe. I walked through the fire just to learn how to go. My uncle told me loyalty was currency. Spend it wise, I spent it on men who wouldn't look me in the eyes. Come trial time, now I'm reading about Abraham, hand raised, knife out. And I wonder if God tests the ones he loves the most. No doubt, I passed some, I failed some, I ran from a few. But every time I tried to flee, the altar moved too. Can I run the covenant? I tried on the highway, doing 90 on the interstate. God caught me the slow way.
Blood on the altar,
I laid it all down, paid every ransom, not a slave to this town.
blood on the altar.
Can't fake what I owe. I walked through the fire just to learn how to go.
You know what sacrifice really is? It's giving up who you were before you found out who you could be. It's the hardest trade. No receipt, no return policy. Just faith on the table like collateral.
I watch the young boys worship the block like it's sacred ground. But the block don't blast back, it just takes till you're 6 feet down. I've been the priest and the lamb in the same afternoon. Gay got my worst and he still made something at the womb. I walk a little slow, read the room a little deeper. Every blessing got a burial, every rising got a keeper. So I come to the altar with what's real, now what's rehearsed. No performance for the few, just a man and his
Blood on the altar,
I laid it all down, paid every ransom, not a slave to this town.
blood on the altar.
Can't fake what I owe. I walked through the fire just to learn how to go. I walked through the fire. I walked through.
I took my inheritance early. Spent it on everything that couldn't love me back. This is what the walk home looked like. I told my father, keep the wisdom, I want the paper now. 18 years old, hit the door, I was gone from that house. Thought the city was a kingdom, had my chest out wide. But the kingdom had a tax on pride I didn't know inside. First year was a movie, had the runners, had the rooms. Second year the money thin, I started feeling the tune. Third year I was rationing, eating humble for breakfast. The men I thought were brothers were just using me for access. I blew the inheritance, wasted every dime, wasted every dime. I ate with the pigs when I thought I was dining fine. But something in the mud said, get up, make the walk. Your father never moved from the porch. He's watching the block. I rehearsed my apology walking down the street. Couldn't look up from the concrete. Dirt was on my feet. Didn't ask for my position back, just asked to work the yard. Some shit felt too heavy after how far I had scarred. But before the speech was finished, he was running to me, running like a father don't run, but this one did. And I broke completely all the armor I had built. Crumbled in his driveway underneath the weight of guilt. I blew the inheritance,
Wasted every dime, wasted every dime.
I ate with the pigs when I thought
I was dying and fine,
but something in the mud said, get up,
make the walk.
Your father never moved from the porch. He's watching the block. You know what his heart is? He saw me from a distance, which means he was looking. Every single day he was looking down that road for someone who left like he wouldn't come back. It's not logic, that's love. That's something the streets never had for me. My older brother was furious, said it wasn't fair. I had wasted everything, still got the royal chair. But that's the part they don't preach enough in the building. Grace don't make sense, that's the point, that's the feeling. If it was math, it would be mercy, clean and even trade. But grace is irrational, extravagant, unafraid. I'm standing in the banquet with the robe on my back, knowing I don't deserve it, that's what makes it a fact. I blew the inheritance, wasted every dime. I ate with the pigs when I thought I was dying and fine. Oh, something in the mud said, get up, make the walk. Your father never moved from the porch. He's watching the block. He was watching the block. He never stopped watching. My brother's name is still in the book. Mine is too, just listed different. I watched God look past me like I wasn't even standing there. My offering laid out, His accepted like the air was clear. And something in my chest made a sound I never heard before. Not grief, not sadness, it was older, something more at the core. Yeah. He said, why is thy countenance falling? Do right and be received, but doing right when you're overlooked is harder than believed. I was the firstborn, worked the ground with everything I had, but the smoke from Abel's altar rose while mine stayed flat. I reasoned with myself until the reasoning turned rage. And then my brother's blood was on the ground and on the page. This is Cain's confession, talking from the exile side. I carry what I did before God, and I can't hide. The mark is on my forehead, but it keeps the wolves away. I'm living with the consequence of what I couldn't say. God said thy brother's blood cried from the ground to me, and I heard it before he spoke. I felt it in my sleep. I said I'm my brother's keeper, like I didn't know the answer, but the question was my armor against the spreading cancer. Curse from the earth that opened up to drink what I had spilled. Every harvest would be harder, every field half fulfilled. I went out from the presence of the Lord, that's the real way. Not the wandering, not the exile, but the closing of that gate. Because I have been in the presence, I knew what I was losing, and I walked into the wasteland of my own refusing. This is Cain's confession, talking from the exile side. I carry what I did before God, and I can't hide. The mark is on my forehead, but it keeps the wolves away. I'm living with the consequence of what I couldn't say. I think about jealousy different now. It doesn't look like anger when it starts. It looks like fairness. It looks like I deserve what he has. It looks like a ledger, and by the time you realize it's poison, you've already done the thing you can't take back, and you gotta wear that every single day. Yeah. They built a city in my name, my son's name on the map. But a city built in exile is just a monument to lack. And God put a mark on me, not to punish but to spare. Cause even in my worst, he still has something like care. That's the part I wrestle with across the years and the miles. That the one I wronged the most still wouldn't leave me for a while. Was it justice? Was it mercy? Was it something in between? I'm still standing in that question, and it's still turning me clean. Because the blood that cried from the ground eventually became the blood of one who said, Father, forgive, don't charge their name. This is Kane's confession. From the exile side, the mark is still on my forehead. I'm still alive. I'm still I'm still We grew up in the cold. You earn what you get. You pay for what you did. God doesn't work like that. That's the part that messes everything up. In the cold I was raised in, you get what you put in. No handouts, no pitting. If you sin, you gotta spend. Whatever consequence come, you take it on the chin. That's justice in the streets, and it made a kind of sense then. But I found a different ledger in a book older than the block, and it said the debt was canceled, and it said it from the top. Not earned, not negotiated, not paid in installments, but covered fully finally. No more tax on the conscience. Grace don't move like that. It don't wait on your resume. Grace don't move like that. It don't ask what you did yesterday. Grace don't move like that. It runs toward the worst one first. Grace don't move like that. And that's what makes it worse. I had a homeboy who did 10 years, came home brand new. Church folk wanted the testimony, but kept watching what he do. Like grace was probationary, like mercy had a time. Like God said, I forgive you, but let's check on you in time. But that's not what the book says. Read it carefully. The father didn't set conditions when his son came back raggedly. He kissed him before the speech, he wrote them before the words. Grace don't wait for the explanation, that's the thing that cuts. Oh, grace don't move like that. It don't wait on your resume. Grace don't move like that. It don't ask what you did yesterday. Oh, grace don't move like that. It runs toward the worst one first. Oh, grace don't move like that. And that's what makes it worse. See, the scandal of grace is this: it offends the people who earn their way, the ones who did right, the ones who stayed. The older brother was furious, not because it was wrong, but because it was unearned. And that's the whole point. If grace made sense, it wouldn't be grace. It would just be a better deal. The cross was not a transaction, the guy ran at a profit. It was an act of love so extreme that logic had to drop it. Because the God who could destroy chose instead to absorb it. Took the full weight of the bill and signed his name across it. Now I walk different, not because I fixed myself clean, but because something that couldn't be earned was given to me. And when I see the worst one coming down the road in the rain, I try to move like that father run before they explain. Cause grace changed what I am. just what I believe. And the only real response is to give what I receive.
Grace don't move like that.
It don't wait on your resume.
Grace don't move like that.
It don't ask what you did yesterday.
Grace don't move like that.
It runs toward the worst one first.
Grace don't move like that.
And that's what makes it work. That's what makes it work. That's what makes it work. That's what makes it work.
Concrete jungle where ambition grows. Same concrete where the blood goes. Same city, same block, same grace. Different destination, same starting place. Yeah, 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 yeah. I came up where the pigeons were the only things with altitude, where the skyline was a postcard for a life at latitude. We couldn't reach, we pressed our faces to the glass of it. We built our whole cosmology around the heaven of it. The cars, the flaws, the numbers that made other numbers nervous. The kingdom that the block constructed in the service of a need that was legitimate. Underneath the method, a need to matter, need to count, need to be respected. And I chased it with the focus of a man who sees the target through every kind of weather, through the cheap seats in the market, fluctuations of the street. I studied like a scholar, study who got rich and who got buried for $1. And I thought the lesson was the hustle, was the grind, was the relentless. But the lesson was that everything I built was temporary tenants in a building I didn't own. The landlord sent a notice in the form of consequences, and I finally got the focus. Empire State of Grace, built on the borough of the broken. Borough of the broken still stand. Empire State of Grace, yeah. Every promise God has spoken over men who had no business being standing where they standing. Empire State of Grace. It's the life that needed land and not the skyscraper ambition, not the king of the corner crown. Empire State of Grace is what you're left with when it all falls down, and you're still here, and the grace is still covering the ground. Yeah. The scripture says, what profit is it gaining all the world while losing what you are? I read it and it curled around my chest like something physical, like smoke, like something I had known before the block rewrote the operating system of my understanding of success. And I've been running the corrupted version, I confess, running toward the finish line that kept on moving backwards, running toward a version of arrival that kept fracturing. I wanted what the city promised, legitimacy, the kind that doesn't need to check the door for enemies, the kind that lets you sit with your back to the room, the kind that builds a legacy instead of just a tomb. With flowers in the photo and a GoFundMe caption, and I finally found that kind, but the address needs some traction to explain. It wasn't in the penthouse or the portfolio, it was in the moment that I finally let the old self go. Hov talked about the dynasty, the legacy, the worth. I'm talking about the dynasty that started with the dirt, that started with the dust, that started with the nothing, that built to something not from capital but from the loving of a God who specializes in the low material, who takes the overlooked and makes the immemorial, who took a shepherd boy and made a king of Israel, who took a fisherman and built the universal chapel on his name. And I'm not comparing myself to Peter, but I came from less than likely, and the Lord is my receiver of everything I'm throwing at this life with full intention. Everything I'm building now is in a different dimension than what I was constructing in the years before the pivot. The empire I'm building now, the grace is in the rivet. Every joint, every beam, every floor of the construction is underwritten by a mercy that survived my own destruction. Empire State of Grace, New York is just a setting, the grace is the architecture, I'm just finally letting. You know what Hov said on the Black Album? He said he died before he sold out his soul. I used to think that was about the music and the commerce. Now I read it different, now I read it whole. There's a version of that line that's purely theological, a soul that's worth protecting, worth the cost of the illogical decision to hold on to something that the world won't compensate her. Decision that requires grace to hold its weight. Empire State of Grace. This is that decision. Empire State of Grace. This is the precision of a life rebuilt on different load-bearing walls. This is what it sounds like when the old empire falls and something realer takes the ground. Empire State of Grace. Built on the bubble of the broken. Bubble the broken. Empire State of Grace. Every word the Lord is spoken over this specific life in this specific city. Empire State of Grace. Ain't pretty, but it's real, and it is holding. And it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Empire State of Grace. The only skyline, the only skyline worth building toward. The only skyline worth building toward. I don't rap fast to prove something. I rap precise because the story requires precision. Every syllable earned, every bar the position. Yeah. Hey, I survived the kind of statistics that academia studies, the zip codes that politicians mention, but never visit, buddy. Grew up where the corner was the campus and the OG was faculty, where the graduation ceremony was either a casket or a cavity search, actually. But something in the architecture of my making was reinforced by a hand I kept mistaking for luck, for coincidence, for favorable timing. But the alignment was too specific for the randomness I was finding. 12 close calls in the calendar that should've ended me. The map don't add up unless you add the one who's tending me. I'm not the smartest in the room and not the fastest on the strip, but I'm still here when better men than me lost their grip. And I could call it survivor's bias, call it rolling of the dice. But I was in the ambulance and something told me twice, you ain't done, not as comfort as commission. I'm standing here today as evidence of the decision. God did when the map said otherwise. God did when the exit closed on both sides. Wasn't luck, wasn't timing, wasn't skill I possessed. God did with the street in the sentence couldn't took less and gave back more than the ledger should allow. Every breath I'm taking is a theological vow. God did. I'm the proof walking, block to the pulpit, still talking. They say show don't tell, so let me show you the receipts. The 3 times the verdict came back and I kept my seats. The 1 time the car broke down before I reached the scene. The phone call from my mama that interrupted what I mean. The dream I had at 19 that I shook off like static, that described my life at 30 with prophetic mathematics. The woman at the bus stop who prayed over me unprompted said, son, I see the calling on you. I didn't want it. I wasn't looking for a sermon, wasn't shopping for a sign, was moving with the current of the block in its design. But grace ain't asked permission, grace don't need an invitation. Grace showed up at my doorstep like an uninvited visitation, and I answered, cause something in the knock felt different. Something in the frequency was ancient and insistent. Something older than the street, older than the code. Something that had been beside me on every stretch of road. Now I carry this like Hov, carry Marcy. It's the origin, it's the source material, the pain that built the discipline. The difference is I know the author of the story now, the one who wrote the out in every chapter I was cornered in. I'm not religious in a way that keeps the distance comfortable. I'm not performing for a pew, I'm saying something substantive. The guy I found was in the rubble, not the cathedral. Was in the paramedics' hands, was in the people who showed up when they had no reason and no obligation. Was in the mercy that outlasted my cooperation. I fought it, that's the truth. Fought it for a decade running, thought I could outwork the grace, thought I could keep it from becoming something that would change the whole coordinate of my living. But grace is not a feeling, it's a force that keeps on giving. Even when you're sprinting in the opposite direction, God did it, and I'm the testimony of that intersection. I know how this sounds to the block. I know how testimony plays on the corner that's practical. I'm not asking you to convert on the curb, I'm just telling you what happened. Verbatim, factual. When the empirical evidence of my continued existence demands a better explanation than my personal persistence. When the margin between where I was and where I am is wider than my talent can bridge. That's not a plan, it's provision. That's the word the scripture uses, provision. The God who sees ahead and sets the table. God did, I'm exhibit A, I'm willing and I'm able. God did. When the map said otherwise, God did. With no footnote, no compromise. Wasn't luck, wasn't timing, wasn't skill I possessed. God did what street in the sentence couldn't took less and gave back more than the legend should allow. More than the legend, more than the math. Every breath I'm taking is a theological vow. A vow, a living vow. God did. I'm the proof walking, blocked to the pulpit. Still here, still talking. Still here, still standing. Proof of the provision. Reasonable doubt is where most men stop. Right at the border of belief and biography. I crossed it, not because I had no questions, but because the questions led me somewhere the doubt couldn't follow. I approach faith the way I approach the block. Analytically, look for the angles, look for who benefits, look critically for the hustle inside the religion, for the power play, for the institution using the sacred as a runway, and I found it. I wanna be transparent about that. Found the corruption, found the clergy, found a heart attack, or organized control wearing the face of liberation. Found a prosperity preacher and the doctrinal manipulation. But I also found the thing beneath the thing, the residue that survives when every institution fails. The residue of true, the God who operates outside the building and the bylaws, the grace that's moving in the margins where the formal power withdraws. I found it in a hospice worker who stayed past the shift, in the addict who got clean and came back to lift the ones behind him. I found it in the mathematics of love that makes no market sense. That's when I started tracking. Reasonable doubt is where I used to live. Reasonable doubt was everything I had to give, but evidence accumulates even on the street, and the case for grace got stronger every time I took the beat to look at my own survival with clear eyes, to count the exits that appeared in the compromise. Reasonable doubt gave way to reasonable faith, and reasonable faith is all I need to navigate this place. Hope said I dumbed down for my audience to double my dollars. I said I leveled up for the kingdom and I'm holding my collar, not literally, I ain't clergy. I'm a man with a story, and the story's got theology in it. Give the author the glory, the author who was writing in the chapters I was wasting, who was marking all the margins while I thought I was just racing through the years like they were infinite, like 30 wasn't coming, like the consequences only land on men who keep on running slower. I ran fast, I wanna say I was exceptional at running from the implications of the life I kept instructing. Built the maze to keep the questions at an operational distance, but the God I would've told you wasn't real kept showing insistence, kept showing up in places where the probability was zero. Kept placing people in my path who knew the parts I buried deep, but kept the mother praying, kept the conscience speaking clearly. And reasonable doubt requires you to deal with the evidence sincerely. Thomas put his fingers in the womb before we testified, and I respect that. I respect the man who has to verify, who can't do secondhand belief, who needs the primary source, who brings the full intelligence to the question and the force of his resistance. Because if something breaks through that, it's something that breaks through is real structural integrity fact. And something broke through mine, broke through the apparatus of a skeptic with a felony and a deeply ingrained bias against any system that require my surrender, against any framework that would ask me to remember that I'm not the author of my own escape from every pit I dug, that the grace operating in my life is not my work but love externally applied by something bigger than my vision and bigger than my doubt. That's where I landed with precision. Reasonable faith, not blind, not inherited, not borrowed, built from the evidence of every yesterday and tomorrow. I used to think the doubters were the honest ones, and the believers were just soft, just needed something to hold. But I met believers in the wreckage of their everything, who held the faith like it was the last tool in the code. And I met doubters so afraid of being wrong, they dressed the fear in intellectual clothing and called it strong. And I think the honest move, the whole move, the real move, is to take the evidence as seriously as the doubt. Let it lead you where it leads. Even if where it leads dismantles what you built your whole identity about.
Reasonable doubt gave way to reasonable faith.
Gave way.
And reasonable faith is all I need to navigate this place. Not certainty.
I don't trade uncertainty, but the weight of the evidence has shifted permanently, yeah.
Reasonable doubt
It's where I used to live.
reasonable faith is everything I now have left to give. Left to give, left to give.
Yeah.
Building on the evidence. Building on the evidence. Building on the